I just mentioned this to you before we started the interview. So I was in College Station, then swung down through Austin, and I stopped in a couple little towns there in between. And I know y'all don't play Texas right now, but Texas also has a big game against an SEC West team on Saturday. How great would your life be if you could beat Clemson and you got off the plane that night and come to find out that that other team down the road lost to an SEC school?
They have no bearing on us. If we're fortunate enough to come out on top, I'll be happy as heck. It won't matter what else happens. I promise you. We just got to control what we can control and take care of our business. And, that will be a great one, too. Texas, LSU. I mean, that's two brand names. That's two big opponents, two top 10 opponents.
Well, just so you know, though, I know it doesn't affect you, but everybody I talked to in the state of Texas, it felt like it probably affected their lives a little bit. What's it like? What's it like down there being in the middle of that? It's a game that isn't played, but that rivalry that lives in that state every single day. I mean, you can't help but see it everywhere you go down there.
No, you don't. I mean, people talk about, because you're in recruiting, you're battling those guys, and they're right next door. And, of course, they're having a great season, too. So it is relevant. They're in the news. But, I hate to say that, but when I get in my own little world, until you guys get me to come on the show and screw up my film watching, other than that, I stay in my own little world.
When you consider where you guys are right now, you had a really good year last year. You got a lot of really good players, and you had a really good recruiting class. Where are you compared to where you felt like you needed to be?
I think we've done about as well as we can do as far as getting the program headed that way. I think there was a couple games last year I wish we would have pulled out, but maybe we had to learn those lessons to get where we are. But I do like the direction we're going, and more importantly, I love the attitude, work ethic, and demeanor of our players, and the belief and how they look at things and their disposition psychologically. I really do, and understanding they got to put work in to be great. And I think we're heading in the right direction. And I think, to me, those first couple years of your program, you got to lay that foundation. So when everything gets like you want it, and it can be right now, there's nothing that can stop us right now from being like it once. But we're still a work in progress. But I'm anxious. Hopefully we'll work real well this weekend.
Coach, we talked to you a lot about music over the years, and we got Brooks and Dunn on board on Marty McGee this year. You had some Brooks and Dunn in your playlist over the year?
Oh, yeah, Brooks and Dunn is great. Like I said, that one song, but of course George Strait's to me is the king of kings. But Brooks and Dunn that's really good. I listen to a lot of Brooks and Dunn.
There you go.
What's the bet? So, okay, if you're going to put King George right up there at the tip of the spear. Now, this is a difficult question, Coach, because he has 65 number ones or something like that.
Right. George is the king.
What's the greatest song that King George Strait has ever cut? And this is a hard one.
Wow. It is. There is no answer to that. I can't, because, George is, to me, I don't have, as crazy as that sounds, like when I told you before Country Boy Can't Survive, it always kind of was stuck out in my kit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But George, they all do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes George great. I don't have any truly one favorite song from George. I could just listen to every, but there's not, certain fans, players, or artists, I don't like that song, move on, I'll only listen to a certain song. I listen to all George songs.
Yeah. And now you live in Texas, and they play George like in every diner and every restaurant and every hospital, waiting room. I mean, everywhere you go, he's there, right?
There's just cardboard stand-ups of the king in every single establishment you enter, and he just stand there smiling at you with that dusty rat tail from 8 seconds.
That's right. All right, Coach, go get him this weekend. We'll be watching, and please go back and watch the film and just forget about this whole conversation. Go back to work.
I'll try the best I can.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
All right.